Okay, so multiplying and dividing equations. So the goal is to get the variable. So it's the same as with adding and subtracting by itself on one side of the equation. We do this by using inverse operation. So now that we're doing multiplying and dividing, well, those are the inverse operations. So if you have a multiplication equation, you're going to divide. If you have a division equation, then you're going to multiply. Now it says, remember the fairness rule? So the fairness rule, whatever you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other side. And this is the same for all equations. And later on we're going to learn inequalities, but you need to remember those two. So here are what we're using as models. You have the long bar for x, and then the negative x would be shaded in. And then you have the small squares for positive, and the negative number would be shaded in. So make sure you remember those. Now, this is not the only way you'll see the models, guys. This is just one way to see them. Sometimes they give you cups and counters. Sometimes they give you X's and, or stars and moons. Remember, all of those, depending on your key, that's what you're going based on. Okay, so before we could start, I want you to identify what type of equation this is. So it says 2x equals negative 14. So what type of equation is this? A multiplication or division? Yeah, this is a multiplication. So I'm going to put multiply. How about the next one? Negative 1/3 x equals to negative 9. That's division. So based on that, that's how we're going to decide what we're doing. So when you have multiplication, the inverse operation would be what? Division. So I'm going to divide both sides with the number that you're multiplying with. So before we do that, I'm going to show you how you should model it. So you have x and x. Why do I have 2x? Yeah, there's 2. And then on the other side, you have negative 14. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the 14. If you could what? Yeah, you could do circles. It's easier to do circles. Okay, so now I'm going to show you algebraically how to do it. So we have 2x is equal to negative 14. So in order for me to solve this, I'm going to divide by 2. Remember when we draw a line and put the 2 on the bottom? That is division. That's another way they'll show division. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. I'm going to draw the line here. And remember that 1 is invisible here. So we just write it as x. And then negative 14 divided by 2 is what?
7.
Positive or negative? Negative 7. Negative 7. Remember, guys, when you divide, when you have the same signs, it's positive, different signs, it's negative. Okay, so remember those rules because those are the ones we're going to be using a lot this week. Well, today and tomorrow. Okay, so now the next one says negative 1/3 x is equal to negative 9. So basically, this 1, you won't see it there. That 1, you only see it every now and then, but it could have shown it as negative x over 3 is equal to negative 9. That's the same thing. Because now you're dividing by 3. So in order for me to figure out how to show that work, okay, I need to show first my model. So I have an x, but that x is divided into 3 parts, right?
Yeah.
So then that is going to equal to negative 9. So in order for me to find out what those 3 parts, remember that 1/3 is equal to 1/9. So I'm going to do this. So hold on. Let me rewrite this. So what I'm going to do the reciprocal. Guys, remember the reciprocal? Remember, reciprocal is when you flip.
Flip, change.
So what you do, you're gonna show the reciprocal. So I'm gonna go ahead and put times 3 over 1. I'm gonna do the same thing, times 3 over 1. And then I could go ahead and do the math. So 3 times negative x is going to be negative 3x. And 1 times 3 is 3. You guys see where I got that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then on the other side, negative 3 times, negative 9, times 3 is 27. And 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, so now that we have that, I could go ahead and cancel this out. So you have negative, well, I'm going to divide it by negative 3, sorry. Hold on. It should have been negative 3, what we're dividing by, because we want to get rid of that. We want to get rid of that 3. Okay, that negative, sorry. So in this case, what we have is negative 3 divided by 3 is x, and 27 divided by 1 is just 27. And that shouldn't be there. So x equals 27. Well, let's think about it. If I know that 1/3 equals negative 9, so if I had negative 9 here, and I add them up, wouldn't that give you 27? So then that's all we did. We do the reciprocal to show our division problem. Any questions? Okay, we're going to do some more. I know this was confusing, but we're doing some more. Okay, so I'm going to do again. So you have negative 7x is equal to negative 21. Is that a multiplication or division problem? Multiplication. Okay. And then the next one is division. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and solve this. You could choose to draw the model, but remember, guys, this is just so you could see what it looks like. You really don't need to use the model to solve any of this. And they're all shaded in because it's a negative. And then on the other side, we do the circles. $21. Haha, you guys are so funny. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the problem. So it's negative 7x is equal to negative 21. So I'm going to divide by what? What am I dividing with? 3?
No.
By negative 7. Remember, draw that line in the middle. Always draw that line. So I'm dividing by negative 7 on both sides. So negative 7 divided by negative 7 is x. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 is 3. So our answer is x equals to 3. I'm sorry? No, you don't use the models. Remember, I told you that. So on the next one, I'm drawing this because, just so you know what it is, so it's 1x and it's divided into 8 parts. And then the other side, it's going to be just 2. So I'm rewriting the problem. So you have negative 1/8x is equal to 2. So remember, what do we do in order to solve that? Yeah, you multiply by what? Flip it, 8 over 1. So you're going to multiply by 8 over 1. And I'm going to make it a negative because I want to get rid of that negative. I don't want to have a negative x. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to move this a little bit. Times 8 over 1. Now I do the math. So negative 8 times negative 1 is going to be 8. 1 times 8 is 8, and then you have the x. 2 times 8 is 16 over 1. So now I'm going to simplify it. So 8 divided by 8 is 1, right? And 16 divided by 1 is just 16. And your answer is 16. So basically, if you go back and say 16 divided by 8, is it 2? Yeah. 16 divided by 8, it's 2. I don't know, I haven't looked at it. Okay. So what I want you to do is the next one on your own. You don't have to do the model. You just need to know how to read the model. Okay? So on the next one, let's see. You have 1 3 x is equal to 6. So go ahead and try it. So if you didn't get x is equal to 18, make sure you see me so I could explain what you could have done wrong or how to actually reteach you. Okay, so your assignment, listen, your assignment is multiplying and dividing equations. You don't need the models. You're not showing your models, but you are showing whether you're dividing, if it's a division problem, a multiplication problem, or whether you're multiplying if it's a division problem. Because remember, you're looking at inverse operation. So if you notice, the top one is, all of them are what? Division. They're all division. So now you know that you have to do what with the division ones? With what? Yeah, you need to use the reciprocal for that. Remember, use the reciprocal. So make sure you do that. And then on the second part, it's multiplication, so that means you're going to divide. So make sure that you're working on this. If you finish, turn it in. Show your work.